Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. Yeah. Finally, huh?
Yeah, good to see you again.
Good to see you. Yeah, there was a lot of things going on LinkedIn. I was quite
Hello.
amazed.
Hi, Anna. How are you?
Good, good. How are you?
I'm good. So late in Germany, right?
Well, 6:30 in the evening. Yeah.
Okay, so this is like about a bonus, huh?
Yeah. But it's we got used now to talk to people from the US, so we have to get used to the time shift and to have some evening calls once in a while. So
you can put your presentation.
if I can share it, yeah.
Yeah, you can share it.
Der Host hat die Freigabe des Teil. Okay. Now it tells me if I want to share it that you deactivated it.
Okay.
So right now I cannot do it.
Let me just check now the settings.
So are you all sitting at home, or you're allowed to go to university at the moment?
Yeah, we can go to the university. I just actually came back from the lab, so yeah.
Okay.
And now I think you can share it now.
Yes, I think so. You see a picture right now, right?
Yeah, I see. Yeah.
Okay, wait. So, and now you only see my presentation?
Yes.
Okay. You don't see my notes?
No.
Perfect. So then we can start.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah.
No, I do had to. It's my first time talking about my career path. So or at least like when Walter introduced the topic to me, I had to think to how to structure it. And actually, it was fun to do it, right? Because you go back in time a bit. And but usually you tend to be very you talk so much about science, and it's usually very nerdy about the things you talk. And so I got rid of all of these things, trying to make it
generic and
general, smooth, that everybody can follow how I developed my career.
Okay, how many slides do you have?
So listen, actually, it's good that we talk about it. I'm gonna have in the beginning there are 14 or 13 maybe, but many of them are really like, it's pretty fast, it's lots of pictures actually. So I will hand over to Walter, then I will stop my presentation. Yeah, I will stop it so he can, maybe we should try with him as well, if he can already have access to sharing his.
Yeah, you can stop.
So I will end mine. Okay. And at the end, we decided that Walter will hand over to me one more time to just summarize a bit of this FluxTec thingy. And So this is the way how it will go. And I think we won't talk.
Screen sharing. You have to stop screen sharing before I can start it, I guess.
Yeah, but I stopped. Nee, krass. Ich dachte, ich habe schon gestoppt. Nee.
And now I can do it. And that's it, right? Can you see it? No, it's...
Yeah. You just have to go in presentation mode, and then, perfect.
I keep it very simple.
Okay, kannst du mal aufhören wieder?
Yeah.
So Anna will start the presentation, and then Walter.
And then he will hand over to me for 2 more minutes. So actually we practiced it, and it didn't take us 30 minutes. It was a bit shorter. So we will see. We will see. And then like with the quiz, I don't know. If you guys want to lead that, it's totally fine with me. Otherwise, yeah, I thought, okay, Q&A will also do it.
Yeah, Q&A would be okay. Yeah.
Will be fine. Eh? What are usually the people, who's the audience also? You have people from like mainly students, or once in a while there's also
it's
like
open for all. Sometimes we have mainly students and young professionals. Sometimes we have only students. So it'd be
how big is the audience that you expect tonight? What is usually the number?
Usually getting like 200, something like that. But I don't know. We started the publicity a bit late, so I don't know.
Okay. That's a big audience.
So I will open up the speech and introduce both of you like briefly, and then I will hand it to you so you can.
Do you want me to stop sharing my screen when you start?
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
I don't have presentation. So.
Okay. Yeah. Actually, I will use. You can see a laser pointer now?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
And also, I just want to let you know that the presentation will be recorded. So yeah, for the future, we're going to share it as a video as well.
Okay. Where do you upload it?
We have a YouTube channel.
I see.
Yeah.
Wow.
You can get access to that too.
So the whole world will have access to it.
Yeah, to your successful story.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, just now let's wait for like 5 minutes or so.
Yeah.
And then we will start, okay? think we can start now, and audience will start joining the webinar. So hello everyone, welcome to the Geothermal Rising Student Committee webinar. This webinar is going to be a bit different than the previous ones. For two reasons. The first one is it's in collaboration with the University of Oklahoma, the student chapter. And the second one is the webinar is addressing a success story of turning in a research idea into a business. So it's not going to be mainly like just technical stuff. It's going to be also about how the company, or the FluxTec company, was initiated and how's it going, and also talk about the speakers today. So our guest speakers today for the webinar is Anna and Walter from FluxTec company. That's mainly for geothermal exploration. So yeah, I'll not talk much about the audience, the speakers, because it's mainly their story. So they'll be talking about themselves in the beginning. So Anna will start the presentation, and then it will hand over to Walter. For the audience, if you have any question, you can use the Q&A box down there feature. We will have 10 to 15 minutes Q&A session at the end of the presentation. And also we have I'll post the donation link if you want to support the student activity at the Geothermal Rising Student Committee as well, to host the activities and sponsor the student members. So yeah, Anna, you can start now. The floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you for the introduction. Welcome everyone, and thank you for the invitation to talk here today. My name is Anna Jentsch, and on behalf of my colleague Egbert Jolie, I would like to introduce how our research in geothermal exploration and monitoring became actually a business idea. But first, I would like to give you a quick overview about my career and give you an introduction to geothermal science and gas analytics. So my first experience working in the field of geothermal science started actually in New Zealand in 2014. And I applied for an internship at GNS Science in Taupo, and they had actually a project ready where they needed someone to conduct fieldwork and interpret the data. So here it was. I was ready to get familiar to the world of hot water, steam, and gases. So here on the left-hand side, you can see a figure showing you the topovolcanic zone. It's the area, probably most of you know it, where most of the high temperature geothermal systems are located in New Zealand. And here I have spent most of my time during my internship. And before I started working actually at the original study area, Napari Fault, my supervisor, Agnes Mazzo and Andrew Ray, introduced me to the visible part of volcanic and geothermal degassing. So she actually explained me the tunable diode laser technique at the geothermal area close to Taupo, which is called Craters of the Moon. An interesting fact actually is Craters of the Moon is the result of the nearby geothermal power station Baraki, the oldest station in New Zealand. So this was a very good way for me to understand the correlation between an active geothermal system and degassing at the surface actually, and how they can influence each other. But Agnes had also another plan before she was sending me to my study area. She also took me to White Island volcano actually, which is one of the most active volcanoes in New Zealand. And it's just off the east coast, and she's doing monthly monitoring campaigns there. So she said, you should also come and support me there in the field, and I will introduce you to some of the gas analytic tools I'm using. And so we measured CO2 also concentration with this tunable diode laser. And it just was overwhelming to see the amount of gas which was released by the volcano and to see the concentration of CO2. So finishing with all these very exciting areas, I went to my area where I was supposed to go, which is also beautiful. It's Napuri Fault. It's more or less the eastern boundary. It's the eastern boundary of the topovolcanic zone. And here I was conducting lots of fieldwork over a period of 3 months. And the question was actually, can we use a tunable diode laser system, which is originally used for volcanic monitoring, so in extreme environments where you have lots of degassing? Could we actually also use it in areas which are less active, but geothermally interesting? So by working with a tunable diode laser system, I was able actually to see that the faults, which you can see here in the background, do release an anomalous amount of CO2, which was interesting. Here on the right-hand side, you can see the tunable diode laser. And so this was my first experience with geothermal and geothermal fieldwork, I mean. And I couldn't get enough. I was very enthusiastic and I wanted to go back to New Zealand. So I returned to Germany and talked to my university and told them about my internship and asked if I could do a master's thesis. And they agreed. So I returned to New Zealand, and this time I actually went back to Napuri, where I've already worked before, but I also extended the study area towards the inner part of the topovolcanic zone, the rift area. So structural wise, it's very interesting because Malimi, this area is very active. The faults are very active. It's more or less the rift axis, whereas Napuri is still an active fault, but not as strong as Malimi. And we wanted to see, is there any difference actually in the amount of degassing at these two study sites? And I complemented also the work of CO2 concentration, the method of measuring CO2 concentration by radon gas emission data and CO2 as well, CO2 flux measurements. So this was my master's thesis, successful. Here you can also see a picture from the Malimi area. And coming back to Germany, somebody was waiting there for me, my supervisor, Egbert, who actually had a project in Ethiopia. And he needed support in the field. And he asked me if I could support him for some field work at the Aluto volcanic complex in Ethiopia, as he knew that I'm familiar with the methods of soil gas analytics, and I'm also familiar to work in the field. So it didn't take me long to say yes. So I went there, and the objective of the study was to develop different soil gas surveys to improve the understanding of the tectonic and volcanic controls on the existing geothermal system there. And this work is published. You can read about the results. I won't go into detail, but basically we were able to identify unknown areas of permeability, which are suitable targets for future geothermal wells, actually. So this is the team here on the right-hand side, which you can see here, and also me working in the field. Coming back to Germany, I had to still write my master's thesis. So while I did that, I was already thinking about the future, and I was not sure if I would like to continue with research, but someone came up to me, my former boss, and told me about this exciting project GMEX, which was a Mexican-European research cooperation on the development of super hot and engineered geothermal systems. So I asked him if there's any field work related to this PhD thesis, and he said, yes, there's lots of field work to do. And then I said, okay, and then I'm gonna do it. So as I mentioned, GMEX was a big project with a large consortium of research institutes from all over Europe and Mexico. So during that time, I had the chance actually to really learn and understand how different methods are applied to understand the geothermal system and to end up with a conceptual model. And for Los Humeros, especially for Los Humeros, the goal was to understand the location of its super hot geothermal resource and where they could do a further, like more drilling into the super hot geothermal resource. So the project required a very close collaboration between all the different partners to actually integrate this substantial amount of data which was generated. And my topic was on soil gas analytics, and I applied area-wide soil gas analytics. I won't go into detail, but it showed a very good correlation to all the other data sets, or to many of the other data sets, also from the geophysical side, that they correlated very well. And it enabled us to understand the system actually better, and the structure and the structural control on fluid flow. And in summary, I can actually say that this was the point in my career where I understood that actually systematic and area-wide soil gas analytics should be a fundamental part of geothermal exploration, which is not the case until now. So while I was finishing writing my thesis, which I also just handed in a half a year ago, and my defense is probably going to be in the next months, I was thinking, okay, what's the next stage actually in my future? And I decided together with my supervisor, Egbert Jolie, that we will write a proposal to launch the idea of FluxTec. And giving you a brief overview how this can actually work. Our research institute in Potsdam in Germany, the GFZ, is part of the Helmholtz Association. And Helmholtz has a program which is called Helmholtz Enterprise, which supports scientists to work entrepreneurial and start a well thought out business. So Helmholtz Enterprise, that program consists of 2 independent project phases. The first phase was a field study fellowship, which was mainly about to identify customer needs through interviews and market research. And during this field study fellowship, we created the name and the branding actually for FluxTec. We were building a preliminary website. And as a final deliverable, I had to create an explainer video, which some of the students at the GRC were already able to watch. And yes, so meanwhile, while we were doing all of these things, here's just a screenshot from the explainer video. We also hired Walter, which developed for us an application. I think he is going to tell you a lot about it in a little bit, so I will continue with my part here. And so field study fellowship finished in the beginning of 2021, and it was successful. We had a good feedback from Helmholtz, and we wrote a follow-up proposal for the second phase. So this phase is a so-called spin-off program, and it finances us as a team and the implementation of the startup project itself. So in this stage, we are right now, and we have been very lucky to travel actually in October to the US to visit the GRC, and not only as researchers, but also as entrepreneurs. And after the GRC, we continued our journey to the WGC to Iceland. So this was a very good experience to communicate our idea and to scientists, but also to many people from the industry. And actually we received a pretty good feedback. And currently, this is just some more pictures from Iceland also. And and currently we are in discussion with people from the industry for future collaborations. And we are hopefully planning our first pilot study with the industry, which is a very exciting time at the moment. And to finish with my first part, if everything works out, we will become a legal entity, hopefully latest next year. And with this, I would like to finish my part and hand over to Walter, who will give you a brief introduction to his career.
Hi. Thank you, Anna, for giving me the stage. I will now share my screen. Okay, I think everybody can see it now. I thought since all of you are, or most of you are students, you might be interested in a short bio of myself. So how I got to the point where I am as a potential career path. So this is me before I started studying, with all of the interests and needs of a young individual. Making music, being creative, arts, but also interested in technology, science, nature, traveling, and also climate change, which was a very important topic for me at that time. And also, obviously, making some cash so that you can have a decent life in future. So to think about all of that, I went, first of all, traveling to South America and finding myself thinking about life. And then I decided to study mechanical engineering. Yeah, because I thought that's a safe job, typical in Germany. You can have great careers as a mechanical engineer, obviously. But then I wasn't happy while I was studying that. I missed the nature part really. So I came across geoscience and I realized it fulfilled a lot of my interests in science and climate change and also traveling, seeing the world. So I stayed with it and finished my bachelor at the University of Freiburg with a topic in geochemistry and petrology, a thesis about an exploration project in South Serbia, a copper mine project. And then also I went to Spain during an Erasmus exchange, learning Spanish and just getting known to the Spanish culture. And then I went to the University of Potsdam, where I actually met Anna and finished there with a master thesis on geomorphology, studying the erosion of the northwestern Andes. Just wait a second, I have to. And then after I finished, I didn't really know what to do again. And I was a bit frustrated that there wasn't this perfect job waiting for me after my master's. And as an old habit, I went traveling again, but this time I took a camera with me and I thought I want to become a documentary filmer. But I realized that watching documentaries is more fun than making them. And so I went back to Germany and I needed money because traveling is expensive. I went back to my old supervisor from my master's thesis, Taylor Schildgen, and she told me that she had a new postdoc that was just going to northwestern Argentina again and studying the past glaciation of the Sierra Aconquija in the Andes. So I found myself traveling back to northwestern Argentina, sitting on the back of a donkey collecting rock samples. And then I realized that this is not a job forever. So I approached Martin Traut at the University of Potsdam, who was into research of paleoclimate dynamics. And he had an open PhD position for his project based in Chubaha in southern Ethiopia, where he analyzed drill cores from the Chuba Basin and wanted to relate those past climatic changes to human evolution in that area, because that drill site was located in close vicinity to one of the most famous human fossil finds. And that was the next 4 years I was focusing on turning mud into numbers. This is a picture of a drill core from the Chuba Basin we actually had more than 600 meters of those. And this is what it looks like when you turn it into a time series of the past 620,000 years. And my job was to look for trends and rhythm inside these time series. And if you do that for 4 years, you end up with this very complicated looking figure here that shows basically all of the results of 4 years of work. But I would just want you to focus on the top of the figure where you see these big rocks. They actually stand for different stone tool technologies of early humans. And as you can see, that they have changed from these big hand axes represented by this bigger rock to smaller stone tools in the called the MSA technology, and that there was a transition phase. And in this transition phase, there was rapid climatic changes going on, and it was going rapidly from dry to moist again. So humans living in that area, they had to adapt and invent a new technology. And this is where it reminds me a lot of what we are going through today. And if you think maybe of the big rock representing fossil fuels and the smaller new technology, the innovation could be geothermal maybe. Okay, so while I was still turning mud into numbers, I met Anna for a coffee at GFZ, and we talked about life and how difficult it is to be a PhD student, and that you're confronted with all of these challenges. And she just came up with this time series that she collected from the Los Humeros geothermal field in Mexico that she just talked about. And she asked me if I could help her to analyze the data and to explain you a little bit more about that project. So what we did was we calculated a stepwise multi-regression model where we had two input variables. One was the CO2 flux emission rates at the surface measured in 1 hour steps for half a year. So that's a lot of data. And predictor variables, which were atmospheric parameters such as wind, pressure, temperature. And then we put all of that into a model that then tried to describe our CO2 emission rates only by atmospheric parameters. And as we knew that that couldn't be the truth, because the geothermal reservoir definitely also caused some of that variability. So the leftover variability we assigned to the signal from the geothermal reservoir. And then we correlated that with injection rates of that geothermal power plant that was running at the same time. And we found that there was a relatively high correlation, a negative correlation between those residuals and the injection rate. So it was quite amazing that you could use the same methods that apply for a time series that covers the past 620,000 years on a data set that only covered 6 months. So I thought, cool, this is quite nice. So this is actually published, as you can find the references under the figure. But that was not the only thing that Anna had in mind. She was also telling me about the spin-off program that she just applied for, and that she would like to have an application that helped her to, in the field, to more quickly interpret the data that she was deriving during her survey. So this is my little sketch that I made for you. So you can see Anna with the flux meter in the field, and early in the morning, she would get up and go to the field directly and measure point by point. And when she's done in the evening, she would have measured 100 points maybe. And she would be obviously very, very tired, because that's very hard work. And each time the flux meter measures, it produces a text file that is saved onto the Android device. And then after the long day in the field, she would have to copy paste the relevant data into an Excel sheet and then calculate the flux, then plot it onto her computer to be able to plan the next day. Because in such surveys, you have to adapt to your findings and maybe rearrange the data grid so that you can measure the best locations in the next day. So by the time she was finished, it was probably already midnight, who knows. So this is where we jumped in and developed the FluxTec app, which does all of these steps by itself automatically. So whenever there is a new text file created, the FluxTec app detects this and copy paste the relevant data automatically out, creates a data file, and then you can already plot it onto a heat map using Google Maps. And then you can actually see right away the results of your survey. And as this wouldn't be enough, we also managed to upload all that data into a cloud so that if you're working together in a team, you can see everybody's data at the same time. So this made it very easy to quickly adapt. Even while you're in the field, you could say, Anna, wait a second, I think we should go more to the east, and we will probably we can follow this fault structure or whatever. So yeah, and this is basically all that I wanted to tell you about my way to FluxTec and how it basically fulfilled some of my interests and some of those creative parts. I can also, I still follow in my free time. So thank you for your attention, and yeah, go with the flow. This is basically our motto. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.
Can you stop share your screen?
Yeah, second. Thing is, I can't see my mouse. This is a problem. Okay.
Yeah, so I will just continue 2 more minutes. 2 more minutes. You see my screen, yeah? Weiter?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So to just summarize very quick the idea behind FluxTec, as we talked a lot about our career paths and so on. Yeah, as we all know, like this sketch on the left-hand side should ease you the way to understand why soil gas analytics and in geothermal exploration. So as we all know, faults and fractures can promote fluid migration from a geothermal reservoir to the Earth's surface. And this makes them actually favorable targets for geothermal wells. So the concept of FluxTec is to provide like these very systematic and area-wide soil gas surveys to identify permeable structures, fluid pathways, with a connection to the reservoir. And the major advantage of these kind of method for exploration is that gas analytics have the capability to get a direct evidence of an active geothermal system before someone needs to invest into a very costly exploration drill. And with our equipment, we are able to measure fast and in real time now because of the application and on multi-scales. And furthermore, we have a very wide range of gases we can measure, which is CO2, methane, hydrogen, noble gases, and so on. And our primary goal is actually to reduce the financial risks in geothermal exploration and to support engineers and decision makers in the assessment of a potential reservoir and help them to define suitable targets for drilling operations and also long-term monitoring. And with this, I would like to end the talk. Yeah, thank you for your attention and don't hesitate to ask any questions.
Thank you, Anna and Walter, for the interesting presentation. Actually, and sharing your experience with our audience. Everyone, you can post your questions in the Q&A box down there. I will get the chance to answer all of them. If we are running out of time, we can send out the answers later on. I mean, by emails. Yeah. So while we're waiting for the audience to get their questions, I have some questions myself. Yeah. So first of all, the FluxTec app that you developed, guys, is it something open for everybody, or is it something that you use internally in the company? And if it's not open for public, or maybe are you planning to have maybe a educational version, or you want to like commercialize the app? Maybe it can be also a source of profit for you.
I think maybe, to be honest, I think we haven't really made up our minds about this completely yet. For us, it was a big pain relief to have it, and the moment we are very happy using it, but we haven't really thought about what's next. But maybe Anna can say something about this.
No, I mean, we did not discuss fully yet what's going to happen with this application. Like, we definitely know that there is a need for this application, that there will be people who could make great use of it. At the moment, we are discussing different options, but one could think of, like, for example, like renting it for a month, for example, for a field survey. Yeah. And I mean, this would create a permanent, like, depending on the amount of people who would use it, but this would be some sort of income for the company, which could benefit us. But also we also have to mention here, like, this is still an alpha version, right? This application will become way bigger with more functions, hopefully soon. And yeah, so it's still also under development, right? And at the moment, we would not give it to anybody because it's not ready yet. So let's see. As I also said, we are not a legal entity yet. The moment when we are a legal entity, things will also change a lot for us, right? And this is a process we also have to learn and understand now, what it means to not be a researcher anymore and to earn your money with what we are doing. So, but this will be there will be updates on our website regarding this, and once we know.
So we have another question here. So what was the greatest challenge that you encountered in the development of this application?
Walter has to answer that. Because I'm mainly the user. Walter programmed it, right? So you have to unmute yourself, Walter. You are muted. No, he's still muted. Walter, you are muted.
Sorry. Yeah, good question. It was a big challenge in general because I've never made an application before. And when I started to get into it, I had to first of all find out what is the fastest way to get to my goal. And for that reason, I asked friends of mine who were developers what they recommend me to learn. So first of all, you have to sort of think about what is which coding language do I have to learn, for example, how to get there. And first I thought I can use MATLAB because I was using MATLAB all the time for my data analysis, and my PhD supervisor, Martin Trout, he is an author of this recipes for earth science, which just uses MATLAB. So I was a complete MATLAB geek in a way. And then I thought I could do that application also with MapUp. And I quickly realized that that wouldn't be a real good solution. So I then asked around, and my developer friends, they told me, yeah, you have to learn Flutter. And I've never heard of it. And Flutter is a framework that is based on Dart language, which is Dart language is the language that uses Google developed for their Chrome environment. And it's a very useful language for application because it's very reactive, and it already includes a lot of animations and all these things. So if anybody is interested in getting into programming apps, I can completely recommend getting into Flutter, because you can also at the same time develop an application for Android and iOS. So it's a cross-platform environment, and that's very useful for everyone who's interested. Yeah, and so my biggest challenge was basically learning a new coding language and learning a new concept of coding. It's all object-oriented coding. Before that, I was used to complete different concepts. So yeah.
And if I may ask, how long did it take you to like develop that?
Yeah, you quickly, I think now it's been 1.5 years when I actually started to think about that I'm going to make an application. But I think after a half a year, there were already some sort of decent results that convinced at least Anna and Egbert to, to keep me going, I guess. I think if there wouldn't have been any results, they would have probably say, okay, Walter, give it up. You know, we're going to hire a real developer now. But it was really a great experience that there's so much help in the web where any questions you ask, somebody already had the problem, and there's nothing you cannot solve. It's amazing how you just sort of need some patience, and that's it.
Okay, so we have another question. Has your application been tested in a different location? Validate the assumptions maybe behind the software or the application? Or it's just like the
assumptions of the application? Well, so far we only been to Czech Republic in September, where we tested the first time the app in the field. So yeah, this was the only location so far. We have to do further testing, but
I don't know if this question was actually aiming on that. I'm not sure if maybe you mean geographically. Have we tested it, or because I think that wouldn't be, because we have tested it with data from Iceland already also, which we didn't do the survey live, but we used the same files. So it works definitely globally. That's there shouldn't be any question about it, but maybe that question was aiming at something, but maybe I didn't, or did we answer the question already?
Application data from a location.
Okay, yeah. Yes, it works at different locations, definitely.
So geographically, locations. Yeah, for sure. Well, it should. If it will not work anywhere else, we will have a problem. But there's no limit to this actually, because it's a it's a portable device, and you can insert a SIM card to it, and then you have connection to internet and so on. So yeah, there's no limit regarding location, other than maybe that we don't have a connection to satellite in order to keep track on the GPS points or stuff like this.
What you need is GPS, obviously, so that you know where you are. And for some of the applications, you also need internet. So you cannot collaborate with your team members if you're not connected to the internet, but you can still use the app even offline, as long as you have GPS. This is sort of the most important thing. And also Google Maps will not show you a background if you're not connected to the internet, for example. This is another thing. But as long as you have internet, you can use it completely with all the with all its gadgets. But if you just have GPS and no internet, then you're still fine. But yeah, you're a bit limited to some applications.
Okay, we got another question here. So when was the point that you felt it was most appropriate to bring your project to others to begin working towards commercialization?
When was the time, the point? When was the most appropriate? Felt, well, I tried to mention it a bit during my PhD, like being in this big project, this GMIX project, which brought together like all these researchers from all over Europe and Mexico, and everybody working in a different discipline. And the main goal for everybody was, okay, we wanted to identify the super hot geothermal resource at Los Someros, so many different methods from geochemistry to structural geology to geophysics were applied. And this was the time, because usually when you work in other areas, you do your research and you often, maybe you have access to other data, but often you also don't have, or people are not so keen on sharing, it depends. But in this project, everything was open access. So I could see the results of my colleagues, and we actually implemented everything also in a conceptual model, and we used also ParaView for visualization and so on. And this is when it showed to me, like I had many discussions about, okay, Anna, what you are doing is on the surface. Geophysics looks in the deep underground. How do you want to, how this should work? Like, how do you want to say if there's a structure or not? And especially geophysicists had often a problem to understand that there is a way, and to understand the gas geochemistry, you will know where your gas is also coming from. And so this was the point actually in my career when I understood, okay, geophysics and gas geochemistry, they fit very well with each other, and it actually does make sense to collaborate way more, because each method has a different advantage. And and talking to my supervisor Egbert, we both knew nothing like this, what we are planning to do, exists. And so we said, now it would be the time, and there's a program which would support us. So yeah.
So maybe an advice is to definitely look out for these kind of programs, no? If someone has a business idea, and maybe talk to these people that offer those programs, and approach them and tell them about the idea, and then they might already, sort of support you. And don't be shy, probably. Very good advice, maybe.
But it's also very important to have a good team. To do everything by yourself is really a pain. It's a lot of work, and I have to, I must say, we wouldn't be at this point where we are right now if there wouldn't be the three of us, actually. So three of us working on it, not constantly all the time, but most of the time, and this would be my advice for anyone who has a business idea. Like, you can do things by yourself, but I think you are way more successful in life if you join forces and you have a good team, and you can share work.
Thank you, Anna.
Yeah, Walter.
Finally, you say it. Finally.
I'm always saying it. Yeah. Yeah, don't be scared, for sure not. Yeah, but this is like personality also wise, right? If you Exchange. And I don't know about the US, for example, but I can tell you in Europe, in the past years, there were many programs about innovative solutions for renewables and so on in any direction. This program where we received the money from, they also fund people from biology or people working in the medical industry and stuff like this, right? Everything is related to this program also. Yeah.
But do you think it is more challenging to start like the company or like to keep it going?
Good question, but I don't know. Ask me in 2 years again, maybe, or 1 year. I mean, so far, it's a challenge. It's really a challenge for sure, because everything is new. I don't know anything about business, for example, yeah. And it's also not my passion to be now a business person, a woman, but
the secret, Anna. It's a secret. We don't know anything about business.
It's a secret. Yeah. No, but no, it's a challenge, but it's an interesting challenge. And so let's see. I think to keep it going will be definitely hard also. Yeah. I mean, once our funding is over, either we have like the first contracts with companies so that we have a cash flow, but if we don't have it, there will be no money for Walter and me, basically. And I have to, I mean, I'm already looking into different other funding options because there's many opportunities in Germany. Yeah, so let's see. But I try to stay optimistic because so far, as I said, GRC and WGC were both conferences which gave us a very good feeling for what are the pains of geothermal exploration companies also.
That was my second question actually, is that you have been to the GRC conference and also the one in Iceland. Do you see like there is a job opportunities, or I mean like business opportunities for the company, like sort of projects? Somebody is like talking about such stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you have to, you like with everything new in life, there is, let's say, like geothermal exploration companies, they have their way how they usually do their exploration. And from the places where I've worked so far in the world, and like I can point out, especially on Mexico and Los Omeros, from 63 wells which were drilled there, only 29 are productive. So half of the wells they cannot use. So this is really like, this is actually a big drama, yeah, and you want to avoid that. And this is a common thing happening in the geothermal industry, right? And it's also a reason why geothermal projects are often taking a long time before they can take off, actually. And so I would say there are people who are super interested in what we are doing, and there are other people where for sure we have to convince them also, and we have to explain a lot what's the benefit, right? And if you, and in the end, it's all about money. to sum it up, yeah. They want to know how much they can save if we will work for them, and what's really the outcome, right? And to give numbers to these people in this stage where we are right now, it's very hard. We do need to gain experience with the industry, right? As we also just come from research, but I can really say, especially also Iceland, the Icelandic people were very open. I mean, they know about all these gases anyway. It's visible to them. It's all around. But also in the US, there were people approaching us. And yeah, so we are in discussions with these people, but slowly.
That's great. So we got another question here. What is one thing in developing FluxTec that you would have avoided if you ever got the chance to do it again?
So far, nothing, really. There's nothing. Because it's young, as you could see, maybe, I don't know, but to remind you again, like this stage where we are in right now, just started in May this year. And the field study fellowship, where it was about market research and interviews, it started last year already. But so far, I must say everything happened actually very organic. And we do, each one of us has its role actually. And yeah, we complement each other very good. So there's no bad experience so far. But maybe if we did our first service for a company, then maybe in 1 year we can give a talk again, and then we have more answers to these things. Yeah.
She can't speak openly right now. No, definitely the truth. I was thinking also, but yeah, there is nothing that so far that we did wrong. Well, I don't know.
No.
Also,
maybe we also didn't do right. Who knows? Yes, please.
Are you planning maybe to do like a collaboration projects, maybe with the academia, and you try to benefit from this funding that they have, so you can keep your name going?
This would be ideal for us for sure, because like, even though research, especially now that I just almost finished with my PhD, I'm a bit tired of it, but in the end, it's still like something interesting to do. And there's many things we would like to further research on, to also improve our methods and so on. And definitely this will be something very, very, not only useful for FluxTec, also for maybe the research projects, to have like industry partners involved. I also know it from other research projects that there was partnerships with the industry. And it's something everybody can profit from, I think. Not only we, also them. Yeah.
I think we don't have any more question. We still have like 3 minutes left. So maybe in 1 minute you can comment on your experience in general, or maybe you can send a message to our audience or the students and young professionals who are willing to start their own companies, maybe, or starting their own business.
I think I would give Walter the word here, because he's very encouraging in things. So it's your stage.
Unfortunately, I'm not very experienced though with starting a company. So from my experience so far, maybe as you could tell also from my presentation, I did a lot of try and error. So I tried some things and I found out that is not really good for me, or I don't have a talent in that. And then I tried other things, and along my way, there was always opportunities coming by that somehow I think it's important to take those and check them out. So I think that is probably my advice, as much as it is maybe helpful to someone, but and make networks and keep contact to your colleagues, like I did with Anna. We always met once a while, and keep that contact alive, and maybe something will pop up, who knows. And life is full of surprises. Just you just have to go out there and talk to people.
I think I can say one more thing. I think internships are a very good thing. I don't know how it is in the US, and if it's like, if you have to do them, or during my bachelor's and master's, we had to do internships. And I must say that they really, they gave me the right contact to what I was interested in that moment. And sometimes I didn't even know that I was interested in it, right? But I knew that I want to see about volcanoes and geothermal and related somehow. And if you have the opportunity and the time to do it, I know that our system university-wise in Germany is a bit different from the US. We are a bit more in a lucky situation because it's not as expensive to study here. But internships are a very good thing to do, to learn from the industry a bit, or also other research institutes. And yeah, maybe maybe we will send out, whenever we have a survey in the US, we often need help in the field, and it's a paid job. And yeah, I don't know, we can send an email out, and if anybody's interested in learning, and yeah, feel free.
I also, one last advice that was coming to my mind at the moment is that I always wanted to say in this talk, which I forgot to tell, is you have to go to the fences of the disciplines. That was always what my PhD supervisor told me. So where the disciplines meet, there is the fence of the disciplines, and there the grass grows highest. So if you just stay in your field as a geologist, for example, but it's worse to sort of go a bit over to the other field and look into, for example, data analysis, or, get a new skill in some other new technology, or learn something new, and you will find you will be more special to other people, more valuable for some people. And I think that always helped me to sort of, motivate myself to learn something new, sort of. And then you also have always a different perspective. From my, I always sort of changed the field. So I was in geomorphology, then I went to paleoclimate dynamics, and now I'm in geothermal. So I mean, from somebody outside of geology, it's like, yeah, you are a geologist, obviously. But I think inside our discipline, that is quite a broad field already. And from every little step in that, I took a different perspective and some methods with me and some experience. And I think that's also very valuable if you sort of, you don't have to stick with something forever only because you think then that you have more experience and then you're better in that. I think it's very important to be interdisciplinary in a way, but not necessarily, but it helped me to sort of. Yeah.
Is that a message to Anna as well, that you may quit the company?
Pardon?
I said, is that a message also to Anna, that you may quit the company?
Yeah, definitely.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think we're running out of time. Thank you, Anna and Walter. We wish you all the best with your company and business. We hope to have our collaboration going with the Geothermal Rising Student Committee. Feel free always to reach out to us if you want to do like a survey maybe, or you want to have another talk maybe or something. So yeah, we're always open to help and join any kind of collaboration. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the invitation, and good luck everyone with finishing PhD, master, bachelor. I don't know, but yeah.
Thank you so much.
All right. See you hopefully next year in Nevada, Reno. As I heard, this is a place where the next GRC is going to be.
Yeah. We hope so. Yeah. Hope to see you there.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Have a nice day. Ciao.